to look directly at how your food is actually grown. That way, you can make confident, informed choices without all the stress. All right, here's our game plan for today. We'll start with the grocery store dilemma. Then we'll define the actual farming systems, compare the key differences, dive into the health and environmental impacts, and finally, wrap up with how to make smarter food choices. So, part 1, the grocery store dilemma and that ever-present label confusion. Moving right along to part 2, let's define these farming systems, and we're setting some baselines here entirely without judgment. Let's kick things off with conventional farming. This is actually the most widely used agricultural system in North America today. Its primary engine, modern technology, synthetic fertilizers, and scientific innovation. The overarching goal here is efficiency, plain and simple. Conventional farming is designed from the ground up to produce massive quantities of food, keeping prices affordable and supplies incredibly consistent. To put it bluntly, without conventional farming, a lot of the foods we rely on would be way less available and significantly more expensive. It plays an absolutely massive role in global food security and just keeping our growing populations fed. And to hit that massive scale, these farmers aren't just tossing seeds in the dirt and crossing their fingers. They're using some seriously impressive tech. We're talking advanced machinery and highly efficient irrigation systems. They rely on synthetic fertilizers and heavily regulated, rigorously tested pesticides to make sure those crops actually survive. But the really fascinating part is precision agriculture. Today's conventional farmers are literally using satellite monitoring and complex data streams to bump up productivity while actively cutting down on waste. It's highly scientific and it's incredibly precise. Now, let's flip the coin and look at organic farming. This approach follows a fundamentally different philosophy. Rather than relying on synthetic chemical inputs, organic farmers really lean into natural agricultural systems and ecological balance. Getting certified as organic means strictly restricting the use of synthetic pesticides, artificial fertilizers, and GMOs. The core goal here is to create healthier farming ecosystems that just work in harmony with nature. They are prioritizing long-term environmental sustainability over hitting the absolute maximum yields. So you might be wondering, if they aren't using synthetic sprays, how do they actually protect the crops? Well, they use massive amounts of compost to build up soil health naturally. And instead of chemical sprays, they deploy biological pest management, which literally means relying on natural predators, like actually releasing a bunch of hungry ladybugs into a field to eat crop-destroying aphids. It's a whole system deeply rooted in supporting biodiversity. So, putting the two core philosophies directly side by side, it's like looking at two different blueprints for the same house. Conventional farming is laser-focused on efficiency, higher yields, advanced tech, and keeping our food supply affordable. Organic farming, on the other hand, is focused on ecology, biodiversity, natural systems, and long-term sustainability. The key takeaway here, neither system is inherently bad, and honestly, neither is absolutely perfect. They're simply prioritizing different but equally vital aspects of agriculture. Which brings us to part 3, comparing the key differences. Let's look at the agricultural scorecard. All right, let's really break this down metric by metric. First up, soil health. Conventional farming uses synthetic fertilizers to deliver efficient, direct nutrients right to the plant, whereas organic uses compost to build long-term fertility in the soil. For pest management, conventional relies on those regulated synthetic chemicals, while organic relies on natural predators. Now, crop yields, this is a huge one. Conventional farming produces significantly higher yields per acre, meaning you get way more food on way less land. Organic farming generally produces lower yields because, again, it's focusing on that ecological balance. And finally, technology. Conventional adopts precision farming and biotech, while organic emphasizes mastering natural, ecological processes. Both take immense skill, they're just utilizing completely different tool sets. Moving to Section 4, Health and Environmental Impacts. This is what really matters for you and, well, for the planet. Let's tackle the environmental side first. Organic farming gets a lot of well-deserved praise here. By avoiding synthetic chemicals, it actively improves long-term soil quality and promotes way greater biodiversity. That means more diverse plant, insect, and animal life hanging around the farm. All of this creates enhanced ecosystem health and resilience. It's a fantastic system for the local ecology. But hey, we can't ignore how conventional agriculture is evolving too. These farms are making huge strides in sustainability. Thanks to some breathtaking technological innovations, conventional farms are implementing brilliant water conservation strategies and incredibly efficient resource management. Using those precision tools we talked about, they can apply exactly the right amount of fertilizer or water to a specific square foot of land. That drastically minimizes environmental waste. They're actively trying to produce more food while using fewer resources. Okay, so what about the big question? Your health. Does organic automatically mean healthier food? Well, the data might actually surprise you. Research does suggest that organic foods might contain slightly higher levels of certain antioxidants. However, the overall nutritional differences between organic and conventional foods are generally very modest. At the end of the day, both farming systems are totally capable of producing highly nutritious, safe, and healthy fruits, vegetables, grains, and proteins. And here is a massive paradigm shift for you. Nutrition experts pretty much all agree on this one core truth. The absolute biggest factor affecting your health isn't whether your food is organic or conventional. It is the overall quality of your diet. Simply eating an abundance of fruits and vegetables, regardless of how they were grown, gives you far greater health benefits than stressing out over the stickers on them. Which perfectly sets up our final section, Part 5, making smarter food choices and building actionable dietary habits. If you really want to level up your diet, forget the labels for a second. Here is your actual checklist. Focus on eating a wide variety of whole foods. Just consume more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins. Again, conventional or organic, it doesn't matter. If you want to help the environment, buy seasonal produce and support your local farmers directly. Choose minimally processed foods over those highly processed snacks, and actively work to reduce food waste in your own kitchen. These actionable habits, they have a much greater impact on your long-term health and the planet than any single farming label. At the end of the day, both of these farming systems are doing incredibly heavy lifting to feed North America. Each has its own unique benefits, and each definitely faces unique challenges. But both are absolutely vital. The future of agriculture isn't really about choosing one side to completely obliterate the other. It's going to rely heavily on combining the strengths, the amazing technological innovations, and the ecological best practices of both systems to create a truly sustainable, abundant food supply for all of us. So, the next time you're standing in that grocery store aisle, I encourage you to just let go of the label anxiety. Seriously, when it comes to your health, what matters most is that nutrient-dense foods become a regular part of your everyday life. So I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. Beyond the label, what healthy, whole foods are you going to choose to put in your cart today? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember, informed food choices create healthier lives. Catch you next time.